MK, and I am here with Stretch the Sketch. I am also playing along with May I Scraplift You, and I chose to lift a Stretch the Sketch member, Dorothy Guinan, who used this sketch right here from Design by Diane, who she stretched it across a 2-page layout, and I plan on shrinking one of her 2 pages down to a 9 by 12. All right, so what I have here is a couple enamel dots that I received as a table gift. So I've got some green and blues, and I don't think I'm going to use that silver sparkle one, but I pulled it out because it kind of matched the theme that I was going to be playing with. I also have some 49 and Market punch outs, or die cut pieces, I should say, but they're still in the little carrier sheet. So that's going to be a pill to have to go and cut off all those little nubbins, but I try to make it work because I really want to use those 4 frames down in the bottom left-hand corner. I also have from Simple Stories the die cuts and the sticker sheets by Vintage Coastal, or the collection Vintage Coastal. So I'm going to pull out some elements from the die cut pack, and then I have most of this sticker sheet because I found that it's really hard for me to use those big old long border of stickers, which I didn't think it was going to be, but it is. And then I have the icon sheet, or sticker sheet as well. I have several photos that I'm going to be stretching across my 12 by something layout. I don't know what 12 and 9 is. Oh my gosh, don't judge. Then I also have some papers here. I have a couple papers that are from Graphic 45 Catch of the Day, but it's just the paper sheet. Those 2 coral papers are from just a paper pad by Park Lane that I picked up at Joann's. And then I pulled out way too much paper, in all honesty, because I had in my brain that I was going to do a 12 by 24 lift of Dorothy's layout. But I had to shrink it because that's the whole point of Stretch the Sketch. You take a sketch and you either shrink it down to card size or tag size, or you make it grow into a 12 by 24 layout. Well, Dorothy's already taken it to a 12 by 24 layout, so I had to do something different. At least that's what Janet told me I had to do. And so I came up with a way to make it into a 12 by whatever plus 9. What is 12 plus 9, you guys? Layout. So at first I had so many other different ideas. It took me a while to get started on this layout because I was going to have 3 12 by 12 layouts, but then I realized I needed 4. I didn't have enough photos for that. So I had to be clever on how I was going to make this work. But also, I kept this part in right here because I have the Caterpillar trimmer, and I can't gut my photos like I used to. So basically all I do is I take my clear ruler, measure out how much I want as a border, and then use my X-Acto knife. And because of my glass mat, the X-Acto knife works wonders. I absolutely love it. And because I'm making this spread go all the way across 2 pages, I don't have to worry about making it fit perfect into the center, except for when it comes to like lining out the other 2 edges and making sure that my papers don't accidentally drop to the bottom or lift up too high. All right, so once I figured out how I'm going to lay down my cardstock and my wood grain and all that, I wanted to gut my wood grain because I needed that to be the 3rd layer on my layout. Now, once I figured out that because I'm not doing another 12 by 12 page as my companion page, I didn't need all that coral paper and teal paper that I did pull out originally. So I only cut off what I needed, and now I'm going to take a few minutes and figure out what I need for my wood grain. Plus, I need to do measurements and things like that. Do I want my wood grain going up and down? Do I want it, side by side or vertical? I just make up words. How did I want my wood grain? So because I already cut one up and down, I needed to keep the other one up and down. So eventually it will all happen. But right now I just need to get the measurements because the wood grain over on the right-hand side needs to go over farther than a solid 12 by 12 or 12-inch piece will allow me, because it would have been like right smack dab. Plus I didn't have 12-inch piece because I gutted it out from the center. So I only had a 10 by 10. All right. And then I went off camera and trimmed up my photos where I thought they were going to be. And then I also trimmed up my off-white piece from Graphic 45. And I realized that because, again, I am not doing a 12 by 12 on the right-hand side, I had to come up creative because I didn't want to leave a photo out. See here, I took one of the photos out and I realized, no, I really want that photo in there. Why? I don't know. It's like the three photos, it's the same photo, but in some of them, the fishing pole is a little bit more visible than in others. And so that's why I really wanted them all. So off camera, I went and I trimmed up my photos a little bit more. So that way they all fit nicely on my layout. Now I am going to ignore the fact that both layouts, Dorothy's and the original sketch, have a large circular item. I'm going to ignore that because of the fact that I'm going to bring in portholes and ropes and things like that. So I'm going to have circular items, but not large circular item like they have. And then I'm going to take this frame, or I should say all of these frames, which there are a total of 4. I'm going to put 2 on the left and 2 on the right. And I'm just going to use them as embellishment beginnings, you know, so that way it's designated as this is an embellishment cluster. And my 3 photos on the right are actually going to be a part of one large embellishment. So I really like that idea of incorporating my photos with my embellishments and things like that. Okay. I want to talk about my photos for just a heartbeat of a second. And this is one of our favorite things to do. And one of the reasons why I wanted to pick out the Simple Stories Vintage Coastal is because it talks about paradise. It talks about not necessarily the beach being the paradise, even though most of their icons in their borders and die cut pieces and stuff like that are tropical. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are ocean, if that makes sense. Do we have pineapples? Well, yes, in the store we do. But we don't have pineapple farms. But I just wanted, mostly what I'm trying to get at is the fact that during the summer and even sometimes during the winter, this is our paradise. We absolutely love living right across the street from a lake. We walk across there all the time. We spend more time over there than we do in our own house. And it's our home away from home, even though we have a home to go to when we're done, if that makes any sense. And I really love it because I take the kayak and my husband takes a boat, and he mostly has the kids in the boat. And we're not allowed to have motor boats on this lake. For one, because of the valley, it would echo too much and it would become obnoxious for the houses around the lake. But for 2, the seaweed is not maintained very well in this lake. And so you could pretty much touch it. Like you put your hand in there and you can pretty much touch it. It's kind of cool. But the more that they are doing with this lake across the street, the more that they are doing with it, the more manageable that seaweed has become. So I'm really super excited to see, how far they go with this lake. They are actually adding 2 more docks onto this lake, and I think that that's going to be way more fun. Because the one dock that is there right now has become quite crowded, especially if you're there to just fish and you get a couple loud kids that want to jump off the dock and go swimming and stuff like that. So it has become quite crowded. But if you go around to the other side where most people fish off the dam, which you can't see in either photo, in any of the photos, I should say. But most people will go and hike down the dam and fish at the bottom of the dam. And so it's neat just seeing all the people that enjoy this beautiful lake just as much as we do. But what I do is I take my kayak and I float out to the center. Well, I paddle out to the center and then I float out there. Well, I have this bag that is that contains some sketchbooks, a glass mat, my pens and pencils and things like that, and of course snacks. That's major important, and my water bottle. And I just sit and I float, and I kind of look up every now and then to see where I floated to, because I don't want to get too close to the fishermen's. I don't want to get too close to other people that are kayaking or anything like that. There is a little alcove that I love to go and paddle to, but that seems to be where it's I don't want to say flows faster, because there's really the only flow that is here is the wind. On this lake, it doesn't have a lot of flow, so it's not very good for fishing, but there is fish in there for fishing, if that makes any sense, which it doesn't. But there is a little kind of cove that I love to go sit at, because you're kind of hidden by all the cattails and things like that. But I don't like to do that, because eventually I float into the cattails. And so I like to go out into the middle and then see where it takes me, and then paddle more and then float some more. And that's what I do, and look up and take pictures and weird stuff like that. My husband took a picture of the fish he caught, but I do have to say that we are catch and release, because of the fact that there isn't a lot of flow. So my husband says that the fish eat garbage, which it's not garbage. It's just, it's just not fresh what they're eating. Because there's no flow. There is a flow, but it's not a lot. Like the whole lake doesn't recirculate, I should say. And so we basically catch and release. The kids did bring home a fish, with permission, of course, because they did want to try it. But the fish they just have a weird taste to them, because they're not. I guess we're used to more freshwater fish, where this isn't really fresh water. It kind of stays, and very little of it flows out, and and a lot comes in, if that makes any sense. I'm not sure how to explain it. But anyways, I am doing a mix of the 49 and Market frames, along with all of the stickers and die cuts from Simple Vintage Coastal by Simple Stories. I really do love how it looks, and then I'm going to be using up all of these enamel dots, except for the silver ones. I don't end up using those ones, but I do love getting teeny tiny little table gifts like this, because it's kind of that little extra thing you probably wouldn't have added if it wasn't there in front of you. And also too, it makes me feel good when I use something up, even though I only got like 5 of it, which is fine. Only is not the right word. That sounds like I'm ungrateful. But I love the fact that I use it up no matter how, much of it that I had. It just feels good to use up your stuff. So anyways, I'm also cutting apart one of the stickers. It kind of had a little hangover to the right-hand page, and this frame has a hangover to the right-hand page. And I love having my elements flow across both pages. I just like how that looks. Even in the album, I like how it, that thought process came across. I just like how it looks. But anyways, this is my layout that I created. I had so much fun. I always enjoy lifting Dorothy. She's one of my favorite people to lift, because she just puts so much onto a layout and it doesn't look clustered. She just does a great job. And be sure to check out everyone else that is playing along with Stretch the Sketch. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Oh, and go and check out everyone else that is playing along with May I Scraplift You, because they're still playing, even though I'm combining this with Stretch the Sketch. All right, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will check y'all later. Bye.